Greetings, my name is Cosmic, and welcome back to my channel. Today is part 2 of my series of guides showing you how to build a historically inspired castle in Minecraft. In the last video, I showed you how to build this gatehouse that you see here. Next, we're going to build the walls and the towers that provide defense for the castle. Like in the last video, I'll be talking about specific details that are included in historical castles. Today's topics include some of my favorite features of castle design. Just like last time, here's the layout of the castle, in case you want to follow along. Link to the previous video will be in the description down below. Also, I have named this castle Caramel, as suggested by Fistful of Boomstick. Alrighty, here I am once again, just like last time. I'm going to be showing you guys how to build this part of the castle step by step, so you guys can follow along. Today we're building the walls and the towers. So, the materials you're going to need for the walls include polished andesite, stone bricks, polished andesite stairs, and stone brick stairs. And then as you can also see, I've got a bow and some red concrete just to demonstrate something to you guys once we get a section of the wall built. So how I'm going to do this, as you see, I've laid out the outlines of the castle to make it easier for me and for you guys to visualize where everything's going to go. As I stated last time, the white concrete is where the polished andesite will go, and then the alternating blue is going to be where the stone bricks go. So the castle walls I built 5 blocks tall, which is a decent height. Could be taller, but for the sake of the castle was just mostly a background for the Epic Nights review. So I did what I could, made it somewhat aesthetically pleasing, but also easy to put together. So like I said, 5 blocks tall, and then each andesite pillar is 3 blocks wide, and then you fill that in with stone bricks. And I'm going to build up another section of wall so that I can make a comparison for you guys. Okay. So, the walls, I'm going to be talking about a lot of details of walls and why I built them as such. So, the walkways on top of a wall are called ramparts. And these just where the guards walk and stand and defend the castle. Over here on this example, I'm going to build a rampart on the back end and then create the typical castle battlement orientation. And this could work, and this does provide cover, and you can attack enemies who are a distance away from you. But one of the main weaknesses of building the battlements right straight up from the wall is that an attacker could get right up close, and then they are actually pretty easily protected from the attackers right above them. Now, of course, if there's like a tower here, they can shoot here. But if there's just a long stretch of wall and there's no towers that close to, like, say, the middle of the wall, this is a defensive flaw. And to remedy that, well, I'm going to show you how that is done over here. So we're going to take polished andesite stairs and place them upside down every other block as such. And these represent corbels, which is an architectural device, essentially an architectural device that that juts out from the main wall or even pillars, and they support weights above them. Then we take polished andesite and we create the merlons with 2 andesite blocks vertically. Last video I accidentally called them crenelles, but these are actually merlons. The crenelles themselves are the stone brick stairs that are upside down as such. So like I said, these are the merlons, these are the crenelles. They form the crenellations, or battlements. And the reason why I took upside down stone brick stairs is because we can create a little gap, and what this gap is called is the matriculations. And the matriculations are these gaps that remedy the defensive weakness that I talked about over here, where you can't shoot straight down at attackers. Over here, you can. If I take this bow and aim it straight through the gap, you can see you can shoot at an opponent that's pretty close to the wall. And actually, despite like the arrow landing 1 block away from the wall, if we actually say create a player here, players are 2 blocks tall, and we should just shoot down. We're easily going to shoot at the player or mob or whoever, like a zombie or a skeleton, and you'll damage them as such. And these defensive features, the crenellations, the matriculations, help make defending a castle extremely efficient and be able to defend from attackers from at pretty much almost any angle. And I guess I should demonstrate attacking attackers through the gaps in between the Merlons. The Merlons are supposed to provide full protection so that you're completely covered, and then the Crenelles provide half protection. Yes, I'm using the terms correctly this time. And the matriculations. The matriculations are normally a gap where you could actually potentially fall through yourself. If you're careful, that's obviously not going to happen. And I tried creating a design where there's like an actual gap that players could go through. But it would, especially on this scale, like how small this wall is, the proper matriculations were going to be pretty wonky looking. And so I remedied that with a much smaller gap that you can't actually fall through, and it still works at defending against attackers pretty well. And so we're going to get rid of... I mean, this can work. The crenellations that was right here just a moment ago. That really just depends on if attackers can come up straight to the wall. If you got a moat around the castle, then you don't really need matriculations because there's no way attackers are going to get straight up to the wall because there's a moat in the way, whether it's filled with water or not. But matriculations are a pretty cool feature, and of course this jutting out of the battlements is a very iconic feature of castles and are featured on structures that aren't actually technically castles and don't feature actually functional matriculations. Like, oops, actually used andesite stairs there. But, you know, there are some castles or like mansions that aren't actually functional, and they just create that aesthetic but don't actually employ the true defensive features of matriculations. And I believe that sums up all the details about the walls, especially the crenellations, which I did employ over here on the gatehouse in the last video, but I wanted to save the details for that for the walls themselves. Now I'm going to go around building up the rest of the walls, and I'll get back to you guys shortly. Alrighty, a couple more things before we move on to the towers. I see the sheep has invaded our castle space. One with these corners right here with the crenellations. All I did was just put upside down stone brick stairs underneath. It just provides a little bit more pathway, and it just You could still attack enemies through the articulations on either side. I tried to create this, and it just didn't have the same feeling as the rest of it. So I decided just to put the stairs right here. And then this space right here is a sort of secondary gate, not a full-fledged gatehouse, but I at least added gates using spruce trap doors on the other side. And then I specifically placed crenellations along the front end of this, so that if attackers somehow got inside, defenders are protected on this wall right here. That's one detail I should mention, is that crenellations should only be facing... I think they should only be facing towards the outside of the walls, because if you put them, say, right here, it's like, yeah, that completes the look from both sides, but the problem is if attackers get on the wall, then they got just protection handed to them when attacking people inside the courtyard, so that you really don't want that. At least I don't think so. And then going back to the gate over here, putting that, and then I did place some banners on a couple, hanging them as such. And then, like I said, using spruce trap doors. Oops, wrong orientation. 3 wide. I built them 4 tall. There we go. Alright, there's one gate. And there's 2 gates. They don't function, obviously, but that's how they at least imply there's actual doors right here. And then something that I did not include, at the start of my Epic Nights review, you can clearly see this, but I'm going to improve upon it a little bit. This space right here is pretty darn square. Just place upside down stone brick stairs to help round it out a little more. You could even go more extreme and do that, but I don't think it works at this scale. But just to help round off those corners a little bit, kind of like over here, just helps make it look a little more supported. And that about does it for the walls. Okay, now we're going to build one of the towers for this castle. I'm going to pick this tower in particular just because for some reason it's just how the layout worked. The walls themselves don't actually jut into the towers. For these other designs, all these other towers they do. I don't know, just wasn't paying that close attention, I guess. So here's the base layout of the tower. They are 7 blocks in diameter, but the actual occupiable space is 3 by 3. I did this for one specific reason, is to incorporate another feature of historical castle designs. What we're going to do first is take stone bricks and build up the inner wall around the 3 by 3 space, 4 blocks tall. And be sure to leave out a space right here for the door. Okay, so now we've built this basically 5 by 5 box of stone bricks. We're going to take polished andesite and build them up 3 high on the white concrete blocks that I marked in the ground. Fill in the gaps in between with stone bricks, 3 blocks tall. And then take polished andesite stairs, put them on top of the polished andesite, and then we'll do the same for the stone bricks. Except this space right here where we're going to we're going to build up stone bricks so you can complete the walkway into the tower. But the rest of the space is going to be like this. Same rate. Do the same thing right here too. And actually, Okay, what I'm going to do here is take polished andesite stairs, place upside down, stone brick stairs, place like that, and actually we're going to replace this with polished andesite, as I kind of did with those doorways to help fortify the doorway, and we're going to do the same down here. And I will place a door, and actually this might be deep slate tiles, as will be the rest of the space. So we're just going to get this out of the way. I know that this isn't making a lot of sense right now. Why are we making the walls too thick, 2 blocks thick? I'll cover that in just a moment. It'll be easier when we get most of the main structure down, or built up. What we're going to do next is take polished andesite, and 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to add 9 blocks of polished andesite on top of the corners of the stone brick blocks that we made in the first place. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these pillars themselves will be in total 13 blocks tall, but the polished andesite is 9 blocks. Next thing we're going to do is build up the walls of the towers using stone bricks, and then we'll actually place in some arrow slits on each floor of the tower. So we got the ground floor, then we got the next floor above it, which we're going to use spruce slabs, leaving a gap here for the ladder, and this should be flush with the ramparts of the walls. From here we can build up the walls themselves, and like we did with the earlier doorways, we're going to fortify them with polished andesite, and we can actually place the blocks right here. The doorways. Do that, and then there's going to be 2 rows of andesite, or stone bricks, excuse me, and then more arrow slits. Once again, the arrow slits are going to be facing only towards the outside of the castle walls, not facing into the courtyard. For the same concept I was talking about earlier with the battlements, do not put them. It gives the attackers just free defenses that they can use if they somehow get into the tower. So these walls are going to be completely blank. And then we can add more floors with the spruce slabs all the way up to the very top. And trapdoors. Place down some ladders. And that's almost complete. Now we can talk about why I did this down here. Okay, so the reason why I created a double thick wall down here at the base of the tower is I'm flaring out the bottom of the tower. Because we're building the tower on dirt. Of course, this is not a Minecraft mechanic, but this is what happened historically. Towers had a flared out bottom if they were built on dirt, not stone, or they didn't dig all the way down to a bedrock layer and built the tower up from the bedrock. If it was just built on something soft like dirt, then there's a chance the castle towers and even the walls and other structures had this, where the towers could sink into the ground and cause problems. It could start to lean one way. And so they flared out the bottom of the tower so that it increased the footprint and therefore helped. There was more ground underneath the tower to support the weight, and I think it's a really cool aesthetic. It gives the different parts of the castle a very strong and fortified base. That's the appearance that it gives off, and I think it looks really cool. You could do the same for the walls. These walls, again, the scale doesn't quite suit that. It looked a little wonky when I tried it, but you can do it if you want to. And now we're just going to finish up building the rest of the tower. I'm going to add crenellations to the top, following the same steps that I showed you guys earlier. Polish andesite stairs, polish andesites, 2 blocks of towel, and then stone brick stairs to go like this to help provide defenses and, once again, matriculations. So yeah, going to move on to decorating the interiors of the castles, of the towers. Alrighty, so on the first floor, kind of like the storage rooms for the gatehouse. The design of this is really up to you. You don't have to build this exactly as I am right now. But to give some examples, here's spruce trapdoors to create a shelf, lantern for light, a chest, a barrel. And then we can go up to the next floor, add a couple of barrels, which you would probably want to fill with arrows. You could fill these with probably weapons, arrows, etc. Same up here. And actually for lighting, you can take torches, place them over the doorways, place them next to the doors over here. Back up here, place torches where the doorways would be if there were doors on this level. And up here, provide lighting up at the top, torches right here, and a barrel right here, again to fill it with arrows. And once again, if you're using supplementaries, really the only change here is replacing the torches with sconces just to give it a more medieval appearance. And that about does it for the towers of my castle, Caramel. I'm going to build up the rest of these towers off camera just so that everything is complete here, and then I'll finish off the video. Stay tuned. And welcome back. As you can see, I built out the rest of the towers of Castle Caramel. Obviously, as you can see here, I left out the last tower. That's going to be its own video because it's its own completely unique design. But yeah, built out all the other towers, filled them up with various storage containers, just decorate them however you see fit. They don't have to be anything specific. And I've also laid out the entire pathway system in the castle. This doesn't have to be specific, but I will try to give a pretty good idea of how it all looks like. Here it is coming in from the gatehouse. There's that tower. You come all the way in. And there's that. And they split off and branch off into a bunch of different directions. Just pause the video if you want to copy this directly. It's a little bit of a challenge to get it all correctly because it is pretty organic. I try to make it as organic as possible, which is very hard to do in Minecraft. So one last thing that I did forget to do, and that's to create a couple of stairways to get up onto the castle walls. What you're going to want to do is take stone bricks, and just in a couple places you're going to stack up the stone bricks as such, and then place in stone brick stairs, and they will lead down to some of these pathways that I built here and there. The other one's just going to be right over here. And that's all that you need to do. I tried to place them a little strategically in some places I think would be hard to get to for attackers, like this staircase all the way back here. Obviously defenders can get here pretty easily and then move around. This other staircase, I guess if the attackers get through this gate, it gives them pretty direct access to this wall. Maybe this should be flipped over to this side and that doorway should be over there. That's completely up to you. But definitely I did not include any staircases in this area because I felt that would make it too easy for attackers to get up onto the wall and then just get through here. But yeah, and then of course, as you can see, because I marked out the layout with colored concrete blocks, you can see them peeking through because of the pathways. And then if you did what I did and lay out markers like that, then just replace them with a corresponding block that's sitting on top of it, whether that be stone bricks or andesite or whatever other material you used. And then last, but certainly not least, you could take some sconces and place them right next to the doorways, just like you did up on the walls. I'll be putting in some other light sources here and there as we get through the rest of this castle, but you could do this instead, or do both. I'm just going to put them up right now just as an example. But yeah, I think that should conclude this video. And that should do it for this video. I hope you learned something new about building a castle. Be sure to subscribe so you can stay tuned for future videos, including the next part in this castle building series. Please leave a like and comment down below. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, farewell.